All right. You see me? Hopefully it works. This is studio space though. We're in it. All right. Basically, now that I have a couple of y'all here, I want to show you what I'm working with. So I have my blank canvas, right? It's primed, it's ready to go. So if you're an oil painter, you know this. If you have any questions, by the way, type it in chat, raise your hand. I'm gonna thank you. Sweet. Thank you. If you have any questions though, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Um, and so this is ready. This is prime. Sorry, I just have to keep admitting people. Um, hey y'all, hey newcomers. Basically, this is ready, right? This is primed, ready to go canvas. Maybe I'll record this, right? Can I record it? I don't know. Basically, everyone who's new, type in the chat if you have any questions. I'm gonna get to them. All right, let's do this. So let me show you my setup. Let me show you what I'm working with, right? I have a glass palette, a paint thinner. I'm using turpentine. It's a toxic chemical, which is why I'm opening the window and I have a fan here so I can get lots of airflow and I'm not breathing all that crap. Um, and then I have all my oil paints. And so with painting, I always try to be very safe. I never want to get this stuff on my skin. So I'm going to be using gloves today. And we are working from a picture reference. It's going to be just a picture that my friend took. We did a photo shoot at the beach, and these pictures came out really good. So let me see if I can show y'all them. See, it should be in my Google Drive. Oh, now it's gonna make me sign in. Well, see if I can't. But I can get started on my painting first. Get my gloves on. Okay, second glove. So whenever you're doing an underpainting, that's the number one first step to painting is to get an underpainting, right? And an underpainting is just the see, y'all can see this. Can you guys see? Is it good? I can't. Okay, thank you. An underpainting is just the outline of your painting. It's the initial process of what your painting is then going to look like. So you need a base to put something on, and then you can go in with your colors. You can go into stuff like this with your layering, right? But an underpainting is just one solid color, and historically, it's been burnt sienna. My paint tubes are low-key disgusting, but you can see the color coming out of the paint tube. That's the color we're going to work with. And the key to this is to put paint down and dilute it with turpentine, which is our paint thinner, right? So that's the key. That's the number one key, is to dilute it enough so that you can create a base layer, like a wash or whatever. Well, it's gonna have to let me. Okay. So I want to show you this, how I'm doing this. It's probably important. This is my glass palette. I'm just gonna put a blob down. Y'all see that? It looks like it's like a brown. A burnt sienna is like a brown, but it's a reddish brown and it has a very nice undertone. And so I'm just putting a blob down like that. And by the way, if y'all want to follow along, like I'm gonna go slow. So you're more than able to keep up with me. And I encourage you to, but if you don't have the paint materials, no worries. This is just a jump start. Like, how do you start? Like, what do I do? And I'm gonna go like slow, so I'm not jumping no gun here. And then this is the paint thinner, right? This is what we're working with. I'm just gonna dip my brush to get it lubricated, wet into the paint thinner. I'm not gonna dry it off at all because I want it to be very wet. And then I'm literally gonna come in here and it's creating like a gradient effect. You see that? Like I'm just pushing it a little bit. So I'm creating a wash. So this is what's known as a wash. You see how I'm not straight going for the like hard paint? Like I'm not trying to mix it all. I'm just trying to get some of the edges and create like this wash. That's the whole goal of this. I'm not trying to create something that is very thick. It's just to layer. That's our whole goal, is to layer this on. I'm actually gonna get the stand on this. It's wrong. Wait, is it? All right. Let me show you my reference now. I didn't get to do that. You know what? Let's do this one. So these are all pictures that were taken of me. I went to the beach and I was wearing this ridiculous outfit, like so ridiculous. It was basically like a white shirt with a tie and dress shoes and dress pants. And I went to the beach. So all my stuff got so sandy. I'm gonna do this image right here. Let me show y'all it. Can I save? Okay, save. There we go. All right, let me show y'all. This is the image we're working with. Let's see if y'all can see that. Right? So, wait, I'm an idiot. I can just flip my camera around, can I? I don't know. This is what we're working with, y'all. So there's dark tones, there's lighter tones, which are highlights. This would be considered a highlight. This would kind of be considered a shadow right here. But what I'm going to be doing is figuring out, that was the glare too much. The glare is kind of a lot, right? Basically, you're looking at your image and you are assessing, where's my darks? Like if you're looking at me and you're trying to paint me right now, this is dark. This is all dark, right? So I'm gonna just come in with a dark color and paint all this, like with my wash. That's the whole goal. And then this is light, so I'll probably leave it as a highlight. And let me show you how that works. Let's see if I can. Should be good. Maybe like the. Sorry, I'm new to this, y'all, too. So like, be patient with me. I'm slow as can be. There we go. All right, so now that we have a wash, There's the exciting part. This is where we finally paint. I'm literally going in. See that color? Move this so I don't ruin it. So basically, I know it's a little too thick because it's not dripping down. I want it to be dripping down a little bit. So I'm gonna dip into my turpentine, which is my paint thinner. I'm gonna create a wash, and I'm gonna just keep going. See how it's dripping a little bit now? That's a little better, but I want it a little more washier, to be honest. And this part, you don't need to go crazy with. I'm just covering the canvas in a solid color to get rid of that like blank here. Let me admit this person real quick. So yeah, I'm just creating this blank wash to go over white surface, so it's not intimidating. I don't want to be intimidated by this. This is supposed to be a simple, fun, easy painting, and so I don't want to try to overcomplicate it by going in with details straight away. That's not how you do anything. The most advanced, technically, painters will also tell you that, and it's just not like sustainable to try to go in with fine details all at once. Um, and so that's why I highly recommend creating a wash. Not only because that's how you start in classical training, but it's just so much easier when you don't have to like look at a blank surface, you know? All right, so we're making progress here. About halfway done with this wash. And then like I'm doing, I'm literally tapping in with my color, tapping in with the turpentine to get liquid. And so I'm creating this watery base. Again, look at it. It's just spreading. But I'm just mixing it like this, right? I'm just mixing it. And then I'm going on my canvas and I'm just putting it down. Some parts are gonna be darker than others. I'm not worried about that right now. Not one bit. Also, get yourself a bigger brush. I'm torturing myself with this tiny little brush, and like, you can do it with this, but I've just been lazy and haven't gotten, or haven't gone to the store, or haven't get a bigger brush because I'm also just like a little stubborn. I'm like, this will do. I don't need nothing bigger, but it'll definitely save years off your life if you plan on painting. Okay. So coming up is going to be a little trick that I like to use whenever I'm doing a wash to create it, to get it more evenly spread. Um, almost done here. How are y'all doing today? Is it morning? Is it night for you guys? I guess I didn't get to introduce myself or your guys' self either. I'm curious. Let me know, put in the comments where you guys are from. I'm curious. I want to know which side of the globe are you from, or if you're local or not. You speak English or don't. You can understand me or not. It's all important. Whoa, from Ireland. That's so cool. Man, I actually do want to go to Ireland. That's a place that I've been. Pennsylvania. Awesome. I've never been there either. I thought I was well traveled. I was like, I've been to Europe. I was so sure. That's great. Okay, now, whoa, Moldova. Yeah, I am not well traveled. Wow, that's amazing. Y'all are great. And put in the comments how long you've been painting. If you're south of France, no way. See, I thought that's the one country I haven't really been to, I feel like, in Europe. It's France. But I need to go. Okay, now I'm curious, put in how experienced you are. Type beginner if you're a beginner, intermediate if you're intermediate, and advanced if you're advanced. Just at painting, it doesn't have to be at oil painting, but I'm curious. I want to know. I like to know these things because then it's like, where do I start from? How quickly do I advance y'all? Like, this is important info for me. If you're curious, I am from the Bay Area, California, which is why I have a little bit of a Valley accent. Um, and yeah, that's why I sound weird. But I think I'm upper intermediate in drawing. I love dry media, colored pencils and alcohol markers, but I really want to try painting now and switch from pencils to brushes. Well, I think you should. I That's so amazing. I'm actually excited for you because I was the same way. I started with pencils and I never actually went to alcohol markers, but I was pencils. That was my go-to. So with the painting brush, if you're curious, this is like this is like gonna change your world. There's something about like the fluidity of painting that you just don't get with drawing. And I say that because I've been a drawer. I'm currently still a drawer, but it's almost like the naturalness of where your brush tends to go. So like you start painting, like I start painting right here, and then if my brush decides to go one way, it's almost like a part of the randomness of painting. And then you could try to you begin to control that randomness. And that randomness becomes part of your practice. So that's why you see this is not a great brush, but there's some brushes that are this big. Like look how long this is. Look how long this is. And people will hold it at the end. And if you've been drawing before, you know that you're drawing like this, like from the tip, right? You're trying to like get as finely as controlled as possible. But with painting, you throw that out the window. You want to get as loose as possible. That's why this paintbrush is so long, so that you can like kind of have this randomness factor. You're still trying to achieve something, but the way you're going about achieving it is through this. Anyway, that's enough random. Through this randomness, it's quite beautiful. I got a couple other ones. Let's see. I've been painting for a while. I just graduated as art major, and painting is my favorite medium. Amazing. Yes. I am on that track. You're ahead of me. That is so amazing. Intermediate in painting and pretty advanced in drawing if I put the effort in. As one knows, it needs a bit of effort. That's amazing though. Here, one more. I'm a music artist, but I'm actually painting by numbers now. This is a way of relaxation, and I like painting as art critic to feel and appreciate it. That's great. Well, painting by numbers is still painting, so you're halfway there. Okay, so this is the trick I wanted to show y'all. Now that you're here, okay. There's a trick. There's a trick to this. So this is pretty dirty, but ideally, if you get a dry rag that's clean, that looks like this, you see what I'm talking about? Find a little section if yours isn't, and this is where you go in. Pull this so y'all can see a little better. This person, and just wipe. Now what this is going to do is it's going to clean your surface, first of all. It's not going to make it as wet and as just like weirdly textured. You see how that's working? I'm just wiping. I'm literally just wiping. But the whole goal of this is you don't want something that's still wet. You want it to stain. This is basically a stain, right? You can think of it as like a stain. But I'm basically covering. I got blue. Whoops. That's why you want to do it with a clean rag. But I'm just staining my canvas so then I can go back in with more burnt sienna to outline my picture here. Maybe do I share my screen and show you what I want to show you my reference. Not, I'll just quickly glance to it real quick. Let's see. Okay. So I'm working with a square canvas here, but my reference image, which I'm going to show you one last time, this is my reference image, is clearly not a square. It's like a rectangle, but I want to find areas of my composition which I want to keep. So I'm thinking I'll cut it off right here. I kind of want to keep some of the sand dune. I think it's very pretty. And I want to keep some of the details in my legs and in my pants and all here. So I'm going to make a compromise. I'm going to say, okay, let's cut it off right here. So I get some of the sand dunes, I get some of the background, but I still have detail that I want to keep with my body, right? With the shirt, with the tie. I still want to keep all that detail. So I'm going to cut it off there. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. Do you have any tips to navigate between drawing and painting and how to switch easier? Absolutely. Between drawing and painting, the number one tip I can give you is to, instead of going for something intimidating like oil, do something you already know, which is drawing. Use charcoal. Charcoal is the best for that transition period. And I'm not talking about the charcoal pencil. Get yourself a stick of charcoal that's this big, right? And start drawing with that. The way it smudges, the way it kind of is unpredictable, and the way sometimes you get these like dark points and light points and you have to really work with it, is a similar process to painting. I swear, it just is. So if you're trying to look for that transition period, which I highly recommend you do, yeah, start with charcoal drawing. It's amazing. So back to the painting. You saw my reference, you saw what I'm gonna be working with. So let us start. So what I'm gonna do here is, you see how I have this wash, it's all kind of messed up. Oh, there we are. This wash, it's all kind of messed up. I'm now gonna go in with a little bit of a dark color. So I'm not trying to mix it again. I'm not trying to freaking create one solid wash. I'm just dabbing into the pigment. And maybe I'm dabbing into this a little bit, right? So I'm creating a little bit of a darker wash. That's the whole goal. I want to make it darker so it stands out against this background, right? So let's do it. Now, the trick with using a reference image and transferring it, or trying to get somewhat of a representation from that image, like you want it to look like the picture a little bit in essence, is to have a picture of something to your side while you're painting and kind of glance to it. Not trying to outline or make everything perfect. Look at your painting as a whole and realize where you want your subject, how you want the other parts of the image to move, and be loose with it. Be loose with it. Don't try to be stiff or have these visions in your head that's so anatomical, or literally just be loose with it. If you make a mistake, so what? This is the beginning stage. It's not a big deal. I always tell myself, like, even though it's an oil paint, a painting can always change. You don't need it to be this rudimentary kind of like, thing that's immortal. A painting is ever changing, especially if you're working on it, like. So I always like to kind of calm myself down when I make mistakes. And so I'm working on my body right now. I wish I would be able to show y'all. I wish I like print it out and put it next to you so you can see, but you'll have to imagine. But yeah, don't be loose with it. It's not a big deal if you mess up or if you do something wrong, or it's all part of the process. It's all fun. I think artists are going in the direction where they're not actually painting exactly what they're looking at. They are painting how something makes them feel, how involved they are with what they're looking at, not necessarily how it looks like from a camera, which it brings hope to a lot of artists like us who aren't painting hyper realistically. But in essence, it makes you feel different, right? If you see a painting that's so picture-like, you're gonna feel like this is a little bit like What's the point? Why you could have just taken this on a camera? Well, with the painting, it's like I can tell this is a painting. It's a very good painting, but it's still a painting, and that's where the value comes in. That's where it all is. So here, and this is so loose, y'all. Like I'm being as loose as can be. This is like baby step, baby step. So intermediate, beginner, advanced, we have a whole bunch of different demographics in here, and I love it. I really do. Okay. Okay. So that, like, y'all see how loose this is, right? I'm not crazy. Um, and even so this is one way to do it. This is one way out of many. Another way I want to show y'all while I'm here, I might as well teach you guys, is cover this completely. So this is my subject, right? This, fix this real quick. And I have this weird bunch in the back. Go down here, holding my phone like this. This goes down maybe a little bit. Kind of at an angle, maybe not so much. Kind of like this. Okay, now I need to make the head a lot bigger. Lots set. Like this. Like that. I am just unfazed by how this is looking, you know? That's the whole goal, is to just be indifferent, paint what you feel, paint how it sees, but not be so attached to all the little tiny. Okay. Right? Right? Something like that. Something like that. Okay, wait, this is what I want to show you. All right. So, you might be like, what the hell? Where's the person? Where's the frame? Maybe if I want to, actually, I'll. So basically, what I did is I just shifted him a little bit. In my reference, I'll show you right now. He looks like this. Is my reference. I am cutting him off here, but I like this a lot up here, right? I find this part up top very appealing, which is why I am going to move all of this downwards so that I have the illusion that this is a little down and he's maybe standing a little higher up. That's what I'm going for. These are all decisions that I'm making on the fly. That's how you paint. You kind of like figure out what looks good by trying different things. You're not trying to create something that's so perfect, rudimentary on your first go. That's why I love painting so much. It's so fluid. It's not rigid. It's not like this practice that is like welding or I don't know, you know, something that's okay. So this is what I want to do. My ADHD is getting to me. Ready? I'm taking a dry rag now, the same one that I used to pat it down. So I guess it's not dry, but an area that is dry. There's the camera. And I am going to pull highlights out. This is one shadow. This is dark, right? This is all dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rag and start pulling some of the highlights out. That's the goal. Easy, right? Maybe I'm going to move this. Hold on. So I'm not having to bend my neck so much. Okay. Switch these around. Okay. Let's do this. So I might zoom into my image a little bit, pull up the highlight. And with this, I am taking this rag and I'm wiping areas of the shadow to get the form, to get the shape of the person. And I'm gonna do multiple attempts. I'm not gonna do one attempt. I'm gonna do it until I feel like it looks right. This is how I work, you know. It's not very Just trying to get another technique I like to use. You see how I'm squinting my eyes? Squinting your eyes will kind of flatten your plane. Well, ironically, it will flatten it, but then if you paint like you're squinting your eyes, it's going to give more depth, which I guess is an oxymoron. But you're flattening your plane so that you're not taking in all the detail. That's basically what you're doing. If you're looking at an image that's highly detailed, like say this, which is highly detailed, see how highly detailed that is? Instead of painting all the little splotches of paint and the years of wear and tear that this thing has been through, I'm not going to paint all that. What I am going to paint though is the light right here and the shadow. Oh, right here. You see it? Sorry. The light and the shadow. That's it. Two forms. Let's do it. One, two. Like you said, I'm not getting attached. I'm not getting touched or anything I do. It's all in good fun. It's all for fun. Whole goal of this thing. I'm not even sure I'm going to keep this composition, but I'm starting like this anyway to get a feel of what I mean. Painting is big on feeling. It's a feeling game, you know? You're not trying to create something that, like I said, you're not constructing an image. You're creating a feeling. You're creating emotion. So I'm going back into my paint and I'm going to add a little more depth. And I'm saying, hey, I kind of like the fact that he's closer. So maybe I want to do him. His head's like this, his body's like this. So let's do it. So I'm going to do a little closer POV, point of view, short form. My hair is kind of flopping around. Sun was out. But I hope you all are having a good day. Had a crazy day. Yeah, crazy. I guess I'll tell you now. I spoiled y'all. I woke up late, per usual. Just had a laundry list of items to do, and so I was running around trying to get this live stream started, trying to find the materials for this, trying to do something else, trying to start, and it all kind of culminates into one thing or another. So now I'm just going back into shadows. I'm working the canvas. I'm working it, right? Zoom out a little bit. So another thing I do, which might be contrary to a lot of other painters, but I guess it makes me unique, special, whatever the right word is, probably just weird, is that I'm big on trial and error. I'm an individual who will try something. If it doesn't work, I try something else. If it doesn't work, I try something else. Painters kind of are analytical, or lots of them, where they'll have a mode of how they do stuff, and then they'll just keep doing it and repeating it and repeating it. I do work like the track painting. I do work like abstract painting. I do a bunch of random work. Let me show you this random thing I made the other day. You know, like, how is this? This is so different from what I'm doing now. But that's kind of like the whole idea of my practice is I'm always trying to improve and learn in different ways. Okay, so I'm gonna do the grass right now. And yeah, so I'm learning and trying different stuff in different ways. I'm not being so attached to one form of practice, one more mode of representation, the whole goal of this is to like learn as a person and grow as a person and experience and express how I feel. And so if I just do something the same way over and over again, I'm kind of not really getting at anything there, you know? So I'm doing some of the grass right now, some of the forms of the grass. So I want to know, let's do it. Let's ask another question because I want to know. Let's see. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my own. So yeah, I'm just keep working this grass. I'm working these shadows here. I'm feeling it out. Like I said, multiple ways to skin a cat and multiple ways to do this. Don't feel attached to one way. Don't be so in the box, right? Let me see. Okay, a question I want to ask y'all. What is your favorite art piece that you've created? Describe it in 4 words. So I don't know. You did a track painting, you say track. Maybe that's too confusing. Maybe that's too confusing. What's the medium that you made your favorite artwork in? Let's do that. So did you make it in oil paint? Did you do it in drawing? The artwork that represents your style that you love the most. What medium is it? How'd you do it? I want to know. I want to know who my audience is and what their strong suits are. So what medium is your guys' favorite artwork that you've created? So I'm continuing with this stain, underpainting, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just working it. I'm not perfect, so I'm not going to get it right. No one's going to get it right. And a lot of people will say, use a projector, use something that you can easily transfer the image on. It's almost like the stencil for tattooing, if you know what I'm talking about, where they just put the stencil on and they start tattooing. Like they don't actually have to do any drawing. They just do an initial drawing on the iPad where they can correct and they can change. And then they go in with the stencil, they put it on your skin, and then they start tattooing. That's a little separated from our art practice. That is that's not how I want to work, I want to work where I'm connected to the work, where I can edit it, where I can, kind of work it the way I want to. Let's see here. So we're just adding more shadows. So everyone is new. I admitted a couple new people. I want to show y'all my reference, right? This is what I have so far. Pretty simple, pretty plain. And that's the goal. But let me show you my reference. I wanna show you what I'm working with. Let's see. I just showed y'all the zoom. Hold on. This is my reference image. Ta-da! Oh, let's see if I can get the glare out. You can kind of see. You see what I'm talking about? So I have the grass here. This is a scene at the beach. Grass here. I'm holding the phone. But all y'all have been watching. You can tell how it's kind of taking shape, right? I have this. You see how it's basic? How I'm not trying to force anything? That's the goal. So that's what I'm working on to all you newcomers. All y'all who didn't join at 11:15. So let's put my glove back on. So it's easy, right? Just working the material, get it all wishy-washy. Okay. Keep going. Keep going. Doing the squinting eye method. Just trying to I don't want to move my camera a little bit. Now it's out of frame. I just don't want to have my back to y'all, but I might have to. So I'm just working this walk, like I said. I'm working it. I'm not being attached to how I'm doing anything. I see a dark point, I add a dark point. I see a light point, I extract with my rag, with my highlight. And so you can almost create like a whole painting just from this form of staining, right? This is a painting in itself that's unique and that's different. You don't have to have you don't need color. You can just create something from this. But the main point is getting stuff down. You want to get something on the canvas that separates uh, your initial blank white canvas from anything that is now new and different, you know? See how easy this is? Anyone can do this. Like, truthfully. Just removing highlights again. What I'm doing, I'm removing highlights. See? Easy. I'm creating this image, I'm constructing it now. I'm not so this needs to go a little excuse me. This that. Now I'm gonna go in with the dark. Something that can be very difficult is the lens of social media, right? I do the same thing. To get views and to get people interested in your stuff, you have to be this perfect being, you know? This being who can construct an image and who can paint beautifully and who has all these qualities, but in reality, it's like all us painters, we're just humans. We just construct something and we have to redo it sometimes. We construct and we redo. We don't have this perfect art practice like everyone believes. But that's the beauty of it, right? If it wasn't perfect, we wouldn't be human. We would just be computers. We would just be able to crank these things out. So going back in, I'm kind of reiterating a little bit. So Moldova, huh? That's pretty far away. Far away. Creating a little shadow here. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I would love to answer whatever your concerns or questions. Don't be shy. This is a place to learn. It's a place to connect with one another. I guess it's a great time to tell y'all I am starting a community. I have teased it for a long time now, but I just didn't know really how to do it. And I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to kind of rush these things. So it's been a long time in the making. I'm trying to get a sponsor for you guys so we can all create under one person and have a materials provider, you know. That's in the work right now. So that is, and it's basically going to be community for you guys. So whoever wants to engage with one another, practice painting. You don't have to be lonely when you paint. You can paint with other people. And they'll be really great. So I gotta no, but it should be very fun. I'm very excited. Yeah. Give me a second. All right. So I got a comment. How do you learn to see/observe the lights and the shadows in an image in order to put it on the right canvas? Basically, it's like if you squint your eyes, like you're gonna see different planes of light. So like you see a dark, you see a light, you see these different planes. That's basically how I'm doing it. Like, it's not a difficult process, and it's trial and error, truthfully. So if you're seeing, if you squint your eyes, imagine if you're like looking at a whatever, something in your room, a corner of your room. To find the darks and the lights is literally just squinting your eyes and seeing what jumps out at you. If you see something that's light, well, that's clearly going to be light. If you see something that's dark, it's going to be dark. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it, but just practice that. Like I might get a wrinkle between my eyes if that's all I do, but truthfully, that's how I do it. So so you see how it's already slightly taking shape? Like this is just very rudimentary. Um, how's your experience being in art school? It's good. I love it. I this is actually not my studio. This is the studio that school gave me, even though I call it my studio. But it's fun. Like I have my own space to create here. I have my own space to work, to do whatever I want. I create these weird looking canvases if I want. Like the freedom you get is definitely a plus. And obviously they provide you with all the materials to work besides the paint, which is kind of the most expensive, ironically. But I get my canvases. I'm able to build these at the wood shop, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just slowly like carving this out here. It's pretty simple, but I'm just following the shadows, following the lights. Um, and I want to show you my reference so you can see the difference. But like truthfully, I think art school is great, honestly. Um, I needed it personally because I didn't necessarily know, ironically, that I wanted to become a painter. I always loved doing art, but I never really knew what type of art I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. And so trying the different mediums, the different art practices, like I did art and technology, which is graphic design for a long time, thinking that I would actually graduate and major in that, which is kind of ironic. But I think just being in art school allowed me to try different things. It's kind of stupid because you're paying a lot for it. But for me, I was able to be in an environment and take it seriously. And I don't have the self-discipline to do it on my own. Like experiment and try all these different things because I don't even know how to start doing it. So I think for me, it really helped because I had teachers, I had people in mind who were able to help me. Um, so that's what you recommend, or if that's what you're interested in, I'd recommend it. Okay. Um, Where's the tie? You see the tie? See how it's coming along? I am too. So I relate with a lot what you just said. That's sweet. I really appreciate that. It's it's an experience, you know? Like I I think it's an experience that I should have had, and I'm glad I did. Um, it's always easy to go back and say, well, I should have done this and I could have taken this class, and but honestly, like a lot of this is just about experimenting and trial and error, like I said earlier, but I think it's really great, you know? The fact that you're exposed to teachers and other students who are also passionate about this stuff is like half the fun too. Um, it's just a lot more difficult to do it on your own. You know what I mean? You need a community, which is what I'm building, right? I'm trying to build a platform for other artists who can experience the engagement that you get at art school, because that's what drives artists is the community factor, right? A little bit. It's your own practice, but it's also like I'm painting for myself, but I'm also painting for exhibitions, for commissions, like all sorts of stuff, right? It's not exclusively one thing. So now I'm just coming in a little more detail, like I'm etching this out. You see the face a little, right? You see it popping out. It's a slow process, but this is what painting looks like, you know. Um, and if you're ever curious about different events, different things I'm putting on, whatever, um, drop your email below and I'm gonna save it and I'll personally send you an email for things, new events, new things. I hope it's not taken as scam though. Hear that. Or if not, you can private message me it, I think. If you don't want to send it to everyone, you can send it just to me. Um, so this is what I'm working with. Let me show you. Right? I have this wash right here, and the paint is slowly being mixed in. So I might have to get a little more. Get to keep these dark and the lights. Let's see. Just mixing this now. Look at this. The funny color. Okay. So let's continue. Let me show you. See how it's coming along? You see how it's popping out a little bit? Let me show you the dark. So I'm getting the highlights, I'm getting the shadows, but this is a lot darker than this, right? And so I need to make note of that. I need to make note of the fact that this is darker than that, and that is lighter than this, and this is lighter than that, you know? So it's kind of like things that you just have to be thinking of. Um, don't let it overpower, your decisions, but let it be a part of kind of what guides you. What is your take on the use of black in oil painting? Do you avoid or make exceptions? I think this is a good question because like it depends what type of painting I'm doing. Um, if I'm trying to do a painting that is strictly representational, so like something like this, black is kind of a gray area. I don't really, I wouldn't use it for a painting like this. What I'm doing now, I wouldn't use black for. But if it's more abstract, if it's leaning on the edge of not so representational things that are just different, I would definitely use black. I think black can be kind of a fun, unique color. I don't think it needs to be so hated on, but at the same time, if you're new, don't use black, you know, like make a black with different colors. Um, for example, if you're actually interested in making a black, my favorite blacks are the phthalo blue, and I mix that a little bit with ultramarine blue, and then some reds, and then a yellow. And it's kind of like a random assortment of colors. I don't think anyone taught me that exact combination, but I kind of came to it, you know. Keep going here. You see how this is taking shape? Right? You see that? And then look at that. So it's coming along. It's a slow process. It's not quick at all. That's a great question though. You seem like you know about painting. Um, which well clearly you do. But let me know your two favorite artists, painters. I'm curious. Bringing it out, right? Mhm. I'm just gonna keep on with this. Like, it's not a difficult process where you're looking at your darks, you're looking at your lights, and you're kind of just going, okay, this needs to be darker, this needs to be lighter in comparison to other things, you know. There are so many, it's changing every day. I feel like, what are your favorites? Yeah, that's a hard question. One of my favorites right now is Neo Rausch. So look that up if you're interested. Neo Rausch. He makes these like paintings that use color in a really unique way. I'm very drawn to color and drawn to people who use color non-traditionally. And so, yeah, I think individuals who take advantage of using color in that way are kind of my favorite. Neo Rauch, amazing painter, so cool. You know what? Maybe I'll show you. I'll show you Neo Rauch. I'm gonna type him in. So this, you asked me what my favorite painter is right now. I'll show you. He's still alive, I think. I'm pretty sure he's He's just like in his 60s. Let's show you this. Open image a new tab. Look at this. Yeah. Yeah, it's like so weird and crazy. That's like all of his images. That's all of his paintings. Is he uses color in like a such non-traditional way. But I love it. Absolutely love it. So we're at a certain state, right, in our painting process, or this is our reference. We're getting to a point where we have enough of an outline, or we could theoretically start painting. But I like to take it in a way that has more depth. It's not as flat. I like to push it a little bit more. So I'm gonna keep pushing this. I'm not going to, you know, completely start with the dry paint, with the colors, I should say. Because it needs a little bit more. But I like starting loose. I like having a point of reference that is not so detailed. It isn't so anatomical, like I was saying. That's kind of fun. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just scraping away right now. Show you. Scraping away. Because this t-shirt's white, right? This t-shirt's white, so I'm gonna keep removing color. So I get this contrast, right? His pants are very dark, his t-shirt's very white. Clearly his pants need to be darker. So let's add that. Right? But you see how I'm, well, that didn't make it much darker. You see how I'm making this darker though? See how it's a lot darker? Yeah. So let's add contrast to this, the back of his shirt. Flapping in the wind here. Yeah. Okay. Something. A little more detail. So we've already been at this for an hour. I've been going slow, but it's been an hour. But this just goes to show how slow painting is. It's not a quick process, but that's part of the fun, you know. Like you get to think, you get to kind of like be with yourself. You're not on your phone. You're not, you know, you're a little bit separated from that. You're in like a different world, which is why like painting is therapeutic. There's literally like people who paint for therapy, which I think is amazing. And then keep going here. And so we're just creating these values. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at value. We're seeing where's dark, where's light, and we're adjusting accordingly. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I keep going back, going forward, going back, as a way to like see this in a different perspective. Like I'm just adjusting for that. Like I keep moving back, keep squinting my eyes, keep trying to put this in a plane itself, trying to pull out lights, trying to put the shadows further. It's all very easy. It's not difficult, not tricky. Not trying to trick you. Don't trick yourself. Okay. So now let's see our reference. Let's compare. This is my reference, right? This is what we're working with. So I've kind of carved out his silhouette. I haven't gotten to the phone yet, actually, I just realized. But I've gotten to this dark, and there are certain darks here that I'm pulling out. That's what I'm working on right now. So I'm pulling out darks along this frame, although now it doesn't really look like it, but I'm pulling out darks. So let's pull a couple more out. So I feel like this could be lighter. Be a little lighter right here. Right? You see how it's getting a little lighter when I do that? Be a little lighter right here. Um, lighter like that. Maybe around his head. Lighter, something like this. So I'm just working with the material. It's not going crazy with any detail. Like if you're taking this and you're putting this as like a reference point for a brush, look how big this brush is. I know it's not a brush, but this is not precise whatsoever. This is huge. Kind of like that's the point. This. Right? Like that. Okay. So now let's repeat this process. Go back in with a little bit of our turpentine and go in with the dark. So going back in with the dark. Because I noticed that this is dark here. I'm currently obsessed with Matthew Livery since the interiors and colors are so dreamy and casual at the same time. And also Colleen Berry. Big inspiration for me. You check these people out. I'm saving that comment. All right. You said his interiors and colors are so dreamy. That's what I love. I think people who are good painters are often people who kind of like abuse the color system because they know it's powerful, right? It's like such a unique tool. Um, why I like Neo Rash too, you know, kind of does that. Let's pull as close as we go. So what I'm doing right now, I'm looking at my reference and I'm going around this individual, pushing stuff in the background, pulling stuff in the foreground. And then I notice that this needs to be a little darker here. Right? That's what I'm doing. It's literally it. Very basic. Anyone can do this, truthfully. And I think something that is also for the people who are interested in getting into oil painting that haven't already, don't let the fact that it's oil intimidate you. I wasn't able to get into oil painting because I thought it was so hard and difficult because there was all this stigma around how professional oil paints are and how, you know, how different they are to acrylic and how toxic they are. Like there's all these things that appear to be like it feels like they're gatekeeping you. Like you're not able to start painting because you feel like I don't know these things. Well, don't feel that way because I didn't know these things either, and now I'm painting in oil. You know, like just find a tutorial that you like or join the community, which it's not there yet, but it's building, and all those things are going to be easy to access, easy to learn. You buy the materials, you get the materials, and you just start painting. It's not like this. I need to learn every single rule and lesson and thing. And like, yes, there are rules. Yeah, there are kind of like universal things, but they're not universal in the way that, you know, you're going to jail if you don't follow them. It's just recommendations. And you don't even have to follow them. You can just start. It's the best part. Uh, so don't overcomplicate it. It's very Very easy. It's like painting in acrylic, with a couple extra steps. Okay, so here I'm just creating a little more of this background, this plane. Realizing that this needs to be a little darker. So now, instead of trying to the whole picture, I'm going in with a little more detail. Just a little bit. Trying to separate some of these values a little more. Just going in with a little more detail. Don't overcomplicate it. I'm not even showing you, sorry. Covering it up. Okay. Just a little more. Just the basics. A little darker here. Do that. This is a little lighter. That. Gonna go into this. So just pushing and pulling. That's all I'm doing. I'm like not trying to reinvent the wheel. Right. Right. Okay. So how are y'all doing today? What's the consensus? 1 to 10. Your rating. Okay. Literally just following my reference. That's it. I'm not, and I also practice other painting practices where I don't follow my reference, but for this, I'm keeping it simple. I'm showing you how to get started with this. I think you need a reference at the start. This. Right. So boom. I would pretty much start going in with color after this. I would start going in with color after this. That's how simple this process is. That took an hour and 20 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes, a little less actually. And that was so simple. And let me show you what my progress is. My goal with this, I'll leave this here. Have a rough outline of something that is easily created. And I'm just creating planes. I'm just creating planes. I'm not creating, the splotches on this paint or like, I'm just creating shadow, highlight, more shadow. And then there's just different levels of shadow. There's darks, there's midtones, there's lights. Like that's the whole goal with this. I'm not trying to, create something that is completely unique, completely different. And so look, that's what I have here. This is what I have. Super basic. But you can tell this is a plane of light. This is a plane of dark. This is kind of like a mid-tone here. And this is a shadow. So there's no detail. You can't even tell that this is grass, right? Which it is. Look, this is grass. But look, that is that. Right? Can you kind of see? And his shirt is that. So his shirt does need to be a little wider here, like whiter. But we are just on our way to creating a picture through something very simple, very, very simple. So this is an underpainting, right? It's an underpainting. It's not meant to be the painting. It's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to have these qualities, but it's just very simple, very, very simple. Let me keep going just slightly. I'm kind of getting in the groove of what. The one thing that it's a little difficult with this is talking. I feel like I'm such an introvert when it comes to painting, and so I'm not used to this environment where I have to like explain what I'm doing. That's kind of the best part. Just for fun, I'll put a little wire to it. But I'm going in with this, right? And that's paper. Finger paint. Basic, simple. Right. All right, whatever. I was gonna end it there, but what the heck? I'm gonna show you this one little thing. One left. So I feel like a painter is a mix between skill and then the practice that he gets from just practicing. Like there's inherent skill to this, but the skill that you need is skill that you just ironically develop through practicing. So it's kind of like an oxymoron. But I didn't know how to paint and I wasn't good when I started, but I was good at drawing. And so that was where my skill came from, was from drawing, right? But when I started painting, I wasn't good at painting. So I feel like you don't need to be good at drawing. You don't need to be good at something else. You just need to start. Like that is how you get good. So it sounds stupid. It's like, yeah, no shit, and practice. But it's just the continuation. Like you learn so much from your first go. The first oil painting I did was a still life of like just a couple objects on the tables in black and white. And I haven't shown that to anyone because I truthfully think it's horrible, right? Like I do not like it. I do not like how it looks. I do not like what I did. But then I got better because I kept practicing and I made work that I did like. And it's that cycle of just repeat and repeat that gets you to a point of knowing how to do this. So let's see. I'm just doing the mouth. I'm kind of just playing around with this point. I'm not really. Hair here. And going down like that. Like that. Eyebrow. Yeah, it's all practice, all good and fun. It's that to be too broken up over. And look, I feel like at this point we can start with color. That's the beauty of this underpainting thing. So let me show you this. A reference, as we know. I guess I didn't do the hand. Maybe do I do the hand? And this is the underpainting. It's super basic. It's super easy, right? I'm not complicating it. I'm not trying to make it something it's not. I'll do the hand really quickly. Show you how I would do it. Oh God, let me get my gloves on. I used to not paint with gloves, and I thought it was fine, like it's whatever. But it's when I start touching my face and start, gets on my skin that I'm like, all right. I would like walk out with just paint on my mouth and my face and that cannot be good for you, but also like I don't want to look like a freak. I'm like walking out with paint in my face and I look like I just kissed a Smurf or something. I'm stupid. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. You don't actually need the small brush. Pretend I didn't even use it. All right. You can do it all with this big brush. I'm gonna show you how. So now look at my palette. You'll see how it's dry and weird again. I'm just dipping a little bit into my turpentine as a paint thinner. Yours can be different. And I'm just making it more liquidy, less viscous. Okay. So you kind of hold it like on his belt, a little up like that. Here, down here. Kind of hold it like this. But it's dark, so his phone is pretty dark. So I'm gonna turn it to a color like that. And then dip into my turpentine, make this a little lighter. Kind of just a rough outline. That's all I need. I'm gonna go in with this. Like that could be his hand, you know. Another hand right here. Make this a little lighter too. And I realized that I want to make the shirt a little lighter as well, right? So let's make this a little lighter. Well, ironically, I'm making it darker. I just need it a little more defined, right? Kind of have it a little loose. It's good. It's all right. Not my goal, but hand is coming down. Angles is another thing. I think angles can be difficult if you don't know how to tackle them. Grab your brush, hold it like you would a big red, I don't know, a jetpack or something. But extend your thumb like this and use this as your measuring stick. This is your measuring stick, right? So if I have my reference here, not over the camera. Oh, okay. If I have my reference here, right? And I want to measure the angle of this. An easy way to do that is I say, okay, it's that angle. And I literally just bring that over without changing my hand. I'm not, I just have it locked like that. I look at my reference. I go over and look at my angle, right? And I say, okay, this does align. This does look good. What doesn't look good is this angle. Oh, this angle of the forearm. So I take that and I say, okay, so I need to do this. You get that angle. And that's how I do angles. So I do it very, very easy. I don't try to make my life difficult. Right? And I think we're done. I think we're done here. Let me show you the underpainting. Here it is. He's got his phone, he's holding his phone. You guys in? But look at the hand. Is it a hand? It doesn't really look like a hand, right? Because I'm not trying to put all the details, I'm not trying to over complicate it. I'm just trying to create the gesture. This is a gesture, this is another gesture, and you don't need to individually do all the fingers to get the gesture down. It's just the motion of the individual, the human. And so that's what I have. This is how he's standing, this is how he's looking, this is how he's holding his phone. This is how he's standing, this is how he's looking, this is how he's holding his phone. Basics, I did go in with the detail with the glasses and maybe the ear and some other things just for fun because I kind of enjoy doing that. But you don't even need to do that. You just need to get the basics down of what it feels like to be in this picture or to be in this image or to try this thing or to do this. You don't need any of the fine pointness of the image of a picture that you take your camera. So I hope that helped. I'm gonna stop there for now because I want to continue this at a different time with paint and kind of reintroduce some of the process so that I don't drag this on, right? But this is how I started painting. If you want to look at this painting that I have here, this painting started out like this. It started the same exact way. See this? It started the same way as this. Like, it's a process that takes layers and time and build up. But it's one that's very doable. It's one that's accessible to everyone. But it all starts like this: an underpainting, an initial practice of moving form around, trying different things. So I hope this helps. I really do. Drop your email and just give it to me, send it to me directly if you want to get involved, if you want to be notified of more of these things. If you have any questions, I would love to reach out and I'll let you know when I'm doing another one of these. Plus, the community that I'm building, I'm going to give details on that as well. So whatever your concerns are, whatever you're interested, if there's any questions right now, I'd love to answer them about this process, about whatever. But I hope it was enjoyable. I'm actually gonna save these. Here. Marie, I'm saving your comment. Great, I want to look at these paintings after. Of course, I'm so glad I could be of help. I love doing this. I'm obviously an oil painter, as you know. It's kind of like what I like to do. And so just showing you a little bit behind the scenes of what this actually looks like as an artist, as an oil painter. Um, you know, it's great. Well, I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm definitely gonna do more of these. They're gonna be on Skool, which is where I'm building a community. So look out for that. More to come, more paintings. Hopefully they're more involved. I can teach you a little more. I'll have like a rubric of things I want to say. But this is just the start, right? The initial of what it's gonna look like, how it's gonna be, the style of these things. It's all practice for me too. I don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. But I'm gonna call it. So thank y'all so much. I'm gonna save. Yeah, I'm just popping down. Thank you for that. Thank you, Nadine. I will get you tuned in. I'll give some highlights. Natalia, Marie, another Gabriel, not me. Nadine,